Oh, hold on. Give me 1 second. All right. Welcome to Albion TV presents the AO Daily Show, your source of real news in an unreal world, keeping you up to date on the latest news, events, and the great community of Albion Online. Today is Monday, the 21st of October, and I'm your host, Shozen, and with me today is my co-host, Bogul. How are you doing today, Bogul?
Good morning, sir. I'm doing quite good. It's a new week. It's a new beginning. It's a very interesting week ahead of us. And you're back in action, I see.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting week. I've got my camera back up. However, Bogul, I didn't remember to adjust my camera after an entire week of not using the camera. Not the right way to do it. But other than that, I think it's going to be a good show because we have a lot of news. And on Monday, if you guys don't know what we do, the first thing we do is we give you the news of the weekend, the news of the day, and then we go on to what happened last week. And we give you basically a rundown of all the events of last week. All the things we covered anyway, maybe even a couple extra. Who knows?
Yeah.
Let's see. So first things first. What do we got on the official news, Bogle? Do we have some PSAs, some reminders, some new news, some old news?
Everything of that. But
Excellent.
we have to do some of the things that happened last week, that are still newsworthy and that we still have to remind people of. Specifically, we had on Thursday the great Merkur going to the forums and writing a nice thread about planned mobile improvements. And we want to help him plug this a little bit because he's also asking for players to help fill out a survey about mobile specifically. That thread that I just linked in the Twitch chat has the forum thread and the link to that. It comes with a little roadmap for the current plans for mobile if you are curious. That, however, was just a little plug to give Mr. Merkur a shout out, one of the new devs who is dealing, I think, with mobile for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, we just hired a new guy. People have been asking what we were going to do with mobile for a number of years. I got some good news. They're not going to change the base game to make it more mobile friendly. They're going to do the best they can to make our base game fit into mobile, which is good. Though there was one bit of news in there that really stuck out to me and got me was that they were talking about making joystick targeting for mobile. Now that has me, that piques my modder interest, and I'm just like, oh, really? Interesting. So I want to check that out. I'll probably even have to try the mobile version just to check that out. I don't know if anybody's ever played Diablo 3 on a console, but it's ridiculously better with a controller. Most games I think are way better with a mouse. Just be real clear. Just way better with a mouse. But that one, oh gosh.
We do have another one from last week that was sort of hidden in a area that not everybody can see, but that we brought up on this show nonetheless. We had the game director of Albion Online go to the forums and comment on the upcoming Season 8, where we are supposed to get the specific details about the schedule of Season 8, maybe some of the events that are planned this week. But so far, we only know that it will be a quote-unquote standalone event season, which will lead up to the new Outlands and include some new features that we have heard of in the past, the Zerg debuff mechanic being one of them. We still don't know on our side when this announcement will go live. We haven't seen it yet, but it's supposed to be public knowledge before the end of the season, and that is in 4 days and 16 hours.
It's coming up really soon, so we're probably going to get that schedule in the next few days. I hope, because I'm looking forward to telling you guys about it. I feel like I'm really anxious and excited to talk about it, but at the same time a little apprehensive because I'm I really hope you guys enjoy this. It's an event. It's going to be different. It's you're going to remember it whether you like it or not. It's going to be memorable, and it's definitely going to be a standout event season. And I want to be able to talk about it more in depth. Speaking of something in depth that did we forget to do this last week? Did this happen last week? I think this happened on Thursday or Friday of last week, and we forgot to do it. I think it was in one of our day's notes. And
you mean the streamer?
Yeah, the streamer spotlight. I mean, he's in stream right now, so I'm having a good time playing with this. But Flaccid Baron, we had it in our notes to mention that he was our streamer spotlight of the week, and that you guys should go check him out. I'll be honest, I did check him out before we did a streamer spotlight, and I was like, Flaccid Baron, it makes me want to make my own character.
He does have a YouTube channel. That's a major focus right here. He says he is looking at Twitch for the future. And one of his videos is where he gives some tips about the best ways to level up daggers.
Yeah.
Because apparently that's one of the questions he gets a lot. So if you want to check out that one, check out the link I posted in Twitch chat. And this one will lead you straight up to that video where you can see him giving quite good tips and interesting insights into that sort of playstyle.
Well, the reason I brought it up about seeing him before is when I wanted to make my character, I was thinking I wanted to make a El Dente Duke.
A what?
The El Dente Duke, to go along with the Flaccid Baron. I thought, like, when I made one of my first side characters, Boris, other people started making little mock characters of Boris, and I was like, that's the most sincerest form of flattery, is when somebody just impersonates you. And I was like, I'll make my own YouTube account just to, promote his videos and call it the El Dente Duke. El Dente is when it's not, it's not quite cooked all the way. It's a little stiff, Bogul.
Oh,
yeah, there
okay.
you go. It's a cooking term for noodles. I thought you would know that one, but you seemed completely thrown off. Like, I don't know that word.
No,
I'm looking it up on Google.
Of course I know Shozen. El Dente. That said, though, we do have some interesting news that is actual news from this week. Specifically, we have a patch on the test server that has very interesting things on it. Which one do we start off first with? I think we sort of talked already about the upcoming Halloween event, right? And now we
we didn't give the specifics yet. Yeah, we knew that there was going to be a Halloween themed group dungeon, and we didn't tell anybody really much about it. We know a lot about it. We're really looking forward to you guys going out there and finding it out there in the world. It's going to be random. You'll be able to notice it. It's different than the regular one. It's going to be decorated, right?
Yeah. It is apparently on the test server together with Percival patch 8. If our experience and history solves us right, that should go live with Wednesday's patch day, probably. But that's not the only thing that is interesting. The Halloween dungeon. There is a very new thing that we hadn't heard of before. The Adventurous Tokens.
Adventure Tokens are new. Yeah, I just saw it this morning when you started telling me about it, and you were talking to Elsa about it in our conversation room, and it was interesting. They're going to do something a little bit different with this. So this is the same one as last year, right? The frame.
Are you talking about the Adventurous Challenge or
the border?
Tokens?
So we're talking about the Adventurous Tokens are created. Yeah. I kind of skipped a part here. So these are created when you destroy an adventurer's avatar border, and they're doing this because the border that they're giving us this year is the same as last year's. Correct?
I think that's the idea. We already knew that they were going to cycle the Adventurous Challenge mounts.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the question was what will happen to the unique borders, avatar borders, that you
Oh.
would get every year. There is a different one, I think. This Halloween one.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting from chat too. Is they're saying this one is different, but I thought it must be if they're putting in something already to deal with the fact that there will be people will get doubles eventually. That I thought it was happening now, but that's cool that this one is at least unique for now. But when
I
you
was under the assumption that you would just have different avatar borders for this month, sort of as a unique, monthly thing that you can only get at this time. And then I saw the ability to salvage these for these tokens. And then I was under the impression that they would just cycle them as well. But now with the problem that we have a different one this month that is not the same as last one, I don't quite know. I think that's something we can investigate though and find an answer to soon.
I'll probably get yelled at for not having the answer already, and I'll be like, I didn't know to ask the question.
Well, I mean,
Live
some people don't like avatar borders or don't care.
True,
right? So
true.
maybe these things that you can get for these tokens will be different. Although the thing you can do and buy right now with these new tokens is another avatar border. So it's also you can buy the previous ones from last year, the avatar borders that you may have missed. So I was under the impression that you can just pick up the ones that you don't have yet as a chance to get them again. But they say additional new items purchasable for tokens will be introduced in the coming months. So I think that's just the setup for whatever comes next there.
Excellent. I do like that we know that more cosmetics are coming. And I'm glad to see multiple ways to get these new cosmetics already being talked about and introduced. I'm not saying that all the cosmetics will be available here. That's not what I'm saying, so don't quote me on that or anything. I'm saying that it sounds like this is a new tool to introduce some, access to cosmetics, because we do know that the first steps have already been done to introduce more cosmetics into the game. We have the mounts already. We have they removed a bunch of cosmetics from the marketplace in anticipation of making those similar to mounts, I imagine. So it's going to be interesting to see how this works out. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm not a big collector of borders. I have my one border that has a number 1 on it and is crystalline fancy, and I wear that. But I know there's some people out there who change them regularly.
I want to pick up one message from chat though, in regards to the Hallowed Ground dungeon, the Halloween themed group dungeon. The question was, does it appear in static dungeons or is it random? As far as I understand it, it's instead of a random dungeon spawn. So you would just walk around in the open world and then just see it there. I was told it's supposed to be visibly different than the current random dungeons. So you should see something special if you walk around in the open world. But that's all I know. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't tried it yet. So if you see one, let us know how it looks like, because that's something I couldn't quite get done before the show.
All right, well, that's the news.
To be a secret too, how it looks like, right?
Yeah, well, that's what the new one looked. Actually, that one's pretty cool. I might have to snag that one.
Yeah,
I think all of Money Guild should have to wear that one because that looks like a slave collar.
What?
Just saying.
How did you go from
slave guild? Just saying. I don't know.
Why is that? Why did you bring that up? Did somebody?
Well, that's the meme. No, that's just
that's
the ongoing, constant meme of everybody the donate or leave mantra. If your shot caller goes down and you have gear, donate your gear because you are not worthy to wear the gear. When there's a shot caller around and you have gear on, dude, give up your gear. Let the guy put it on so he can play. You can go home now. you're not important. You're just a slave, and that's it. I mean, it's a joke. It's not real. Money Guild is one of the freest like guilds out there. You get to do exactly what you want. Nobody is under any obligation to do anything that anybody says. It's got a very relaxed leadership, and all of their officers are some of the most chill individuals you've ever seen.
Talking about guilds, though, we have this end of the season approaching. And something I did at the beginning of the season, I asked a bunch of people for statements. Do you remember that? Where we sort of hoped to get an idea of what people were looking for, what people were going for. And I do have one, at least allied guild with Money Guild sending me a statement as well.
Yeah.
Today I have two statements for everybody. I have one from the guild Sun and one of the guild the Druids.
Oh, what do these guys have to say? And No Sun is a very long-standing guild, not only in our game, but outside of the game of Albion. They're, what, a 20-year-old guild?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's older than most of their members.
Oh. No.
No, that's not true.
No.
Sun is an old daddy guild. It's older than Conflict.
All right. So I got a message from Let Me Take Selfie. That is a little long, but I hope you can bear with me. So that's Sun and Let Me Take Selfie's statement.
Who is Let Me Take a Selfie? Because I thought it was Frank Sinatra who ruled Sun.
I think it's the current character, the GM of Sun.
Okay.
He's very high leadership, if not, running the guild. What the specific separation of tasks there is between Frank and him, I don't know, but I think it's very top tier level. Hello, Bogul. Let me begin with a thank you for the effort you're putting in for the Albion community. It's nice to have people who want to create content, and even though I think Lupek is doing a better job, you're still doing okay, smiley face. Regarding a guild statement, then, I would like to add that the original purpose for Sun joining Oops was to beat Squad and, in particular, Blue Army. We did this, and it was really an alliance effort, and it felt great to win. In particular, I would like to thank Makteb Ok, leader of Hammer and Sickle, for the work he's always putting in. He is a very respected guild leader and a super strong ally. Also, I would like to appeal to everyone in the Albion community to review their view on Derek. I will admit, before joining Oops, I was skeptic, but after working with him, I would like to add that he's a straight-up alliance leader that sticks to his word. He has a wild temper, yes, but on a personal level, it simply means that he cares and plays to win. Unlike other GMs that play for Derek to lose. In the end of the day, we all choose who we want to be, and it's more inspiring to follow someone playing to win than persons thriving on others' misfortune. Regarding what next season will bring, we will see. Personally, I would love Sun to hold one or two towers. I really enjoy the small-scale PvP that mage defense often brings.
Well, we have seen more mage defending going on. That's something actually we talked about. I was on the Albion News 24 show this weekend, and there were a number of guests on there. And one of the things that did come up with mage defense and how people have been doing that and how people got some really good points this season. And it may have turned the season, in June's favor. But yeah, they actually, one of the things that also came up was Derek's personality this season and how literally he's just been calm and rational and kind of just been really easy to deal with from a Blue Army perspective. That's his enemy. Like that's like Mojo and Derek have the longest running feud, and they were really just kind of relaxed and chill the last few times they've talked. And I don't know, like it's respect is a weird word to use. But I think at this point they have a mutual respect of having somebody who they can go to. They always know they're going to get content from. and it's always there. And at this point, when content is king, it's more important than like anything. It's more important than like winning the season. It's more important than winning a battle. Getting content is most important. That's what keeps these guilds going. And these two long-running, guilds have had a feud that's lasted since seasons began, and the beginning of before Blue Army even existed. The players in these two groups have had a feud, and it's been really good content for both groups. And at this point, it's no longer like a hot, angry feud. It's more like I'm going to shit talk you now so that you show up tonight. You better show up tonight or I'm going to shit talk you tomorrow. Okay, thank you for showing up. I'm glad you guys fought with us. Now we're going to go on the forums and we're going to shit talk you anyway just to make sure you guys show up tomorrow. Cool? Cool. All right, later. And it's different, but I kind of like it. And I got to say, Derek's been just much easier to deal with this season than in past seasons as a member of his enemy group.
I do have a different question for you, though. That sort of leads us in a different direction and into the second statement I have today. Didn't the druids used to be an oops as well?
Yes, druids were one of the really competitive guilds in oops. They like made a name for themselves inside like oops, and I thought they were gonna be like a hammer and sickle, like a staple, like a like a Say My Metatron or something like that. They stick around for a long time. I thought that's what was going to happen, and it didn't happen.
Because they're an arch now.
Yeah.
So that's. But yeah, just to clear that up, because I was slightly confused as I expect them to be in oops as well. But it turns out they are recently, I don't know how recently though, joined Arch. But I do have their statement here as well that I want to read and give them a shout out. So, with Season 7 came several changes and the game became more comprehensive in many ways. We were able to achieve our gold rank goal, and with the potential of our members, we were able to build a good ZVZ team, even though it underwent an internal restructuring mid-season. For next season, we plan to evolve further into open world PvP, creating cool content for our members and helping new ones evolve as players in PvP and PvE. We will remain competitive, competing for good positions and respectfully representing the Brazilian guilds. And that's it.
Okay, not a bad statement. Now I guess we can get on to what happened last week. We have a bunch of statements we're going to be going through a few every... Oh.
We have to say that both these guilds are recruiting and looking for members, and that everybody who is looking for a better than good guild should join both of these and check them out definitely, because they are very long-standing, very reputable guilds in the community. And now you can talk about whatever you wanted to talk about.
I want to talk about last week, Bogul. That's what we do on Mondays, and we don't have a lot of time to do it, as we had so much just going on today. Which is, sure. I mean, we'll talk about this real quick. Part of our format is that we're always going to talk about what happened today. It doesn't matter what the day of the week is. It can be Wednesday, and we have a patch. That's what we're going to talk about, because it's Patch Wednesday. But if there's a patch on Tuesday, we're still going to talk about that patch, even though it's Newbie Tuesday. And the newbies will have to wait, because news comes first, right? Is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And with the end of the season approaching, I have like 15 of those, so we have to start early to get them all in before the end of the season. Otherwise, it doesn't fit timely. But looking back at last week is a good thing, and I think we can do that in like 5 minutes. It's a bunch, but that's what it's for. It's a reminder that this happened last week, and if you want to see all the details, then you can just go back to there. But we nonetheless want to mention it. Why don't you start with Monday then?
Monday. Well, while I'm doing that, you do me a favor and tell those guys in chat where they can get a hold of you for these guild announcements. All right. On Monday, we looked back at what happened on the entire week, of course, but one of the things we spent most of the show looking at was what happened on the previous Friday. See, on the previous Friday, we did an interview with Robin Henkes on the Queen update as a whole and spent a lot of time talking about the map. That was a really good interview. I enjoyed it. I think it was definitely better than the first one I did with Robin, I thought. And you guys should definitely check it out if you have not heard it already. I will link it to you guys here. I will first mute it. Oh, that's a dang Bud Light commercial. God dang Bud Light. Did they change from Miller Lite to Bud Light or something on Twitch? What the heck is going on with these guys? That's what I want to know.
I just linked it.
Thank you, Bogul. I'm running an ad and I didn't. Stupid thing. On Tuesday, I mean, that's all we did on Monday, right? We just talked about that thing all day.
Well, yeah, we did our take on it, and it sort of turned into a too long didn't read 30-minute version of a 30-minute interview. But it's still pretty cool.
I mean, it's almost an hour long interview. Yeah. It's like one of those 70, like the 2 hour long breakdowns of a 2-minute Star Wars trailer.
Right.
Yeah, that's basically what we did on Monday. On Tuesday, we talked about the Harvest Festival, the upcoming holiday, themed event like the dungeon, and we have a couple other events that we can't quite talk about yet, and we plugged those. Also, we heard about Duratine and the breaking up of Oops at the time, people leaving. Duratine ended up leaving and joining AW Gaming. He's now currently trying to unite the Brazilians together.
How's that going?
I don't know. I talked to him about it this weekend. He says that he gave a bit of a rundown on the story of how that came about. So if you guys want to hear that story, go check out Albion News 24 in their most recent episode. In the episode before that, he talked about his... I guess Derek and him were on together, and they talked about what was going on with the folding of Oops together. And I think that's a bit better version of that. Whereas this week, he more talked about the situation inside the Brazilian community.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
For Tuesday, we also covered some newbie stuff. We kind of changed up the format. Before, we had been doing really deep dives into one topic that we thought was newbie friendly. Instead, we decided to answer 3 questions that newbies asked me over the week. And I was like, these are the questions that people have been asking me in global chat, in the forums or whatever. And we answered questions on the black market, whether you need a mega alliance in order to GVG, alternatives to that, such as, using the scrim system, and some common misconceptions that new players have about the black zones, I believe. Wednesday, we didn't have a show, did we, Bogo?
No, you had a. I think the official word is sick day, right?
Yeah, I took a
where
sick
you
day.
just decided to stay in bed because that's for the same reason we didn't have a camera all week because it was that time.
Yeah,
when
I
something
I looked bad.
All right.
It didn't look good. It was. I think I got through like an hour of show prep and was like, Bogle, I'm done with show today. I go bed now.
You just went back.
Yeah,
That was fine.
I was done.
Lupek was busy flying around the world that day as well. So, why you?
Fun Stealer, you look bad now. Why is the camera on?
Oh,
thank you.
no, that's me. Come on.
No, that's good. No, I like it. Yeah, that was good.
So Wednesday, no Lupek, no Shozen. Doesn't matter. We skipped. On Thursday, we skipped the Econ Thursday as well because we were able to show a very detailed maps of the planned new map layout that's coming with the Queen update. We showed 4 different layers of the map. For example, where the hideouts or the hideouts can be placed, where the dungeons are, what the zones are, what the biome layout is. All of that nice stuff that sort of was in the dev talk we saw a week before, but that after some feedback got updated. It has new time zones as well. So if you want to see those... Oh, you're showing them on screen. Nice. You can watch that show as well, where we just discuss this for the whole show. And then on Friday, we talked about mobile briefly. We talked more about this new map. We also heard that the Season 8 was going to be a standalone event season. So that was big news at the time. And then we just talked about drama.
Yeah, there was a lot of drama. Yeah. We talked about the Oops situation But we talked about it specifically from the perspective of what was going on with Sorab, because that day I woke up to a bunch of messages from Sorab that really just didn't make any sense. And this happens to a lot of people. I am not the first person this has happened to. I will not be the last. And he has a habit of kind of losing it, going crazy, and just lashing out at people, right? And so I woke up in the morning to rip your boy. This is what happens when you don't support streamers, and you'll never succeed until you learn to support people who actually care about the game. And I was like,
That's mean.
yeah, it was. But I was like, no, I have a job doing what I love. I call this success. So I showed him the Harden like walk away eye roll, and then, show the jersey walk away, because that's what you do. That's how you do it. And Sorab loved this. I made fun of Sorab for about 10 minutes. The guy absolutely loved it. I'll even be nice and I'll show you his response, because he actually enjoyed it and was like, this is why you play the game. So I will give him his little 15 minutes. Here you go. Oh, that might be a little bit it's Sorab, so this is mature rated for a mature rated audience. If you didn't know that, it is. Yeah, so he had a good time with it. So he didn't mind. We also had a little bit of drama with Exion in chat that day, as he was just spouting off again, just like he constantly does, because he's not getting enough attention. So I think we need to, as a community, find some kind of thing we can do for him that is nice, that says it's okay. And I'm thinking a red fez. Like, we invest in a red fez.
What?
A red fez, so that he can wear it and do his little monkey dance and get his attention. Red fez.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
my
maybe a
God.
little red vest. A little red vest, with gold trim on it, I'm thinking. And those could be like our cosmetics, like in the future. We should all do a concerted, effort to encourage SBI to make us fezzes and red vests, so that we can dance with the claps and get the attention that we so desperately deserve.
And that was last week in Albion today. We are very happy. Is it? Was that it? Shozen?
Yeah, that was what we did last week. But after that, let's see. I went on and did some more shows over the weekend. We did.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
We were supposed to plug that.
Yep,
yeah.
there was some Limehurst battles. We showed those. There was a bunch of city battles, actually, last week. Some fell, some stood. But mostly, Money Guild held really good on the weekend. They really embarrassed the crap out of Blue Army. And I asked Mojo about it. I was like, you just got, Actually, I said, Mojo, so you had a nice fight there in the city today. And he goes, it wasn't nice. We got our asses kicked. They're just better at it than us now. And it was just honesty, truth. Money Guild's better at city fights right now than Blue Army. And Blue Army is going to have to put in some serious work if they want to snag any of these cities from them. June was able to do it with, the full forces of the Daddy Alliance, taking the best players from that alliance and working together. But Blue Army on its own right now can't pull it off. And they admit it, and they're going to work towards getting better.
That's an interesting goal for Season 8, I think.
I think that's
Yeah,
I
cool.
think that's just I got to look at what you're capable of doing, where your problems lie and what you have to do to get better. And right now Blue Army is aware that it needs to get better if it wants to compete with Money Guild in city fights. They can currently beat Money Guild in ZVZs, but that's because they just pull bigger numbers. And if you get to a smaller number, down to that 20v20, Money Guild is winning it right now, and Blue Army's got work to do. So it'll be interesting. I really hope that if nothing else happens in Season 8, we get a bunch of city fights where these two teams try to actually outdo each other, because they're the best at what they do. They're the two of the best at fighting, and I love watching the personalities go at it. Most people know the names involved on either side, and you can pick a team to root for or a team to hate, one or the other. And that works for a lot of people, and it's just exciting content. And right now I feel like that's what we're going into with Season 8, is just a season to battle for content. It's not about getting first. It's not about, well, heck, maybe we don't know what the rewards are. Maybe it is about getting
It's
first.
probably about getting first.
I think it's more about content. From what I understand,
right.
some of the top guilds are kind of planning to take it really relaxed over the next season. And I wouldn't be surprised to see, honestly, I don't know if this is, just, tossing, some confidence to Duratine here, in that I think that the Brazilians might have an actual shot this Season 8, because they're the ones who I haven't heard anybody talking about taking a break, and you have 3 different factions in the Brazilian community all kind of fighting it out, and between, like, it sounds like Mark is the one who's bringing the Russians in with him, and if he is, that's a bold move, and we will see what happens when these 2 giant groups like bang out, and if they're the ones who are really interested in Season 8, they'll get it, because I don't know what's going to happen with, like, Daddy's gone. It's done.
Yeah.
Oops has completely changed.
That happened last week as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, these things happened last week, but we're feeling the fallout now.
All right.
Oops is, reforming. And you see, like, Squad coming back, but Squad's smaller than it was before. It's going to be interesting. Arch, somebody wants me to talk about Arch. Arch has really just always been about content, and they're still doing Archganistan. If we want to look at Archganistan, they have it. They're doing it. There's rumors that everybody's going to create some massive mega alliance to wipe Arch off the face of the earth and just beat the crap out of them. I don't see the point. I don't think it's necessary.
It's like whack-a-mole.
Yeah, it's like they're going to come back somewhere else, and they'll be fine. I mean, they're not a GVG team, so if you want to beat them in GVGs, go for it. They don't care. They're not going to care. They'll just do whatever else they're going to do. I see them, when we get to the point in Season 9 when ZVZs really matter more, they'll have a more prominent role, but they're not going, I don't think they're going to be like this overwhelming force that some people talk of them, being, just because they have numbers. They might have more overall numbers, but their show numbers, like their show to event numbers, aren't better than what Daddy had. There's no guild that they've had who's ever been able to compete with the highs of TC. You don't see anybody pulling 130 guys from one guild in Arch. Now, if they had 10 guilds that did that, that'd be game over. I mean, they have 100 guilds, so it wouldn't matter if, like, 70 of those guilds only pulled 5 people. But right now, it's 90 of those guilds are pulling between 5 and 20 people. And that's not gonna really win.
Chosen, I think we have to wrap up today.
Yeah.
We have the last days of the season coming up. As I said earlier, we have 4 days and 16 hours remaining in the season. We will get some very exciting news soon, I think, specifically about what's happening with Season 8. We should also see some more information on the rewards of Season 7 soon as well. I think they called it a tank mount in the very announcement of that, so we should see these publicly announced as well during this week. And probably in the hands of everybody by the weekend. So that's going to be a fun time to take some of these out and play with them. And then I think everybody who wants Crystal actually got it. So KFC managed to hit Crystal with 180k, and Arrow 404 just has 83. So congratulations to everybody who pushed for that. I think a lot of people are happy. Maybe there's a few people who still want gold, but it looks pretty awesome. We will do a little bit of a season wrap up, I think. But for today, just a bunch of shout outs, and we will be getting ready for overtime, maybe even with Lupac today.
Yeah, sounds like Lupac is right here in chat. So we'll go and switch rooms. We'll be back here. You can check us Monday through Friday at 18 UTC for the AO Daily Show right here on twitch.tv/Albion Online. You can check us out on YouTube and SoundCloud later at youtube.com and soundcloud.com/AO or Albion TV. Not AO TV. Albion TV. You actually have to write it out, don't you? I'm never going to remember that. It's just always going to slip my mind. Okay, well, we'll be back in like 2 minutes with Lupac and the Overtime Show. Thanks for watching.